Welcome to The Rest Between Sets, a podcast about health, wellness, and the real lives behind the workouts. I'm Rebecca, a physical therapist and a strength coach who has had some really good conversations with athletes while they're resting between their sets. I've gotten some really good life advice, and so every week I sit down with members of our gym and our community to talk about what it really takes to be strong in the gym and in life. All right, our next guest on the podcast is Tyrone Wilder. Tyrone is a really amazing mental health therapist. He's a dad. He's an awesome athlete. He has some really great advice on staying grounded, how physical and mental health are related, and he has a really great perspective. Okay, so Tyrone, welcome to the podcast. I'm super excited that you're here. Tyrone, how long have you been coming to the gym for?
I've been coming to the gym since 2021, I think.
Like you've been here longer than me.
It's been about 4 years since I've been coming here.
Okay, and tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do for your job. You've got a cool job.
Well, I am a licensed mental health therapist. I've been doing private practice for around 4 years, and I used to work in the hospital setting on inpatient units, working with geriatric and adults and children. And I did a little bit of eating disorders as well for about a year. And
I didn't know you did eating disorders. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I did eating disorder. Had a small caseload because I was PRN at the hospital. So around that time, I had probably like 5 different positions I was working.
Oh wow!
But I did have a set schedule for eating disorder during the weekday.
Wow. And you do a lot of your appointments online, right? Like telehealth?
It varies. I'm probably like around 30-40% telehealth, and the rest is around like 50-60% in person.
Very cool. Yeah. So like what's your degree, like what's your educational background like to get a role like that?
So mine started, funny, I didn't think I never thought I'd be in mental health industry.
Really?
Yeah, it just wasn't something I even thought of. It was in undergrad whenever I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life, and my childhood background kind of shaped me to get to this point in my life. And I used to go to the hospital a lot with my dad at the VA, mm-hmm. and he had addictions problems, mm-hmm. and they were able to get him back on a good track. And when I got to school, I was trying to figure that out, and someone was talking about, like, hey, you should get into the mental health field, like just with your background. And I went and just went to the social work department, and I looked at that, looked at counseling. Social work was more broad for me, mm-hmm. so I applied for that while I was in undergrad. Got my bachelor's in social work, went to grad school, and got my master's in social work as well.
Wow, that's really cool. That's awesome. So what kinds of things about the mental health field like attracted you to it?
For one, I growing up didn't have a lot of people go to a therapist or a psychiatrist. In my neighborhood, you just either go to your pastor if you have one, mm-hmm. or you just deal with it. Yeah. So for me, I just never really thought about like talking to someone until I got older, and I started looking back at my past where I had a lot of drug addiction in my family, some mental health illness in my neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And for me, I wanted to be a voice, but also a face for people who maybe had, had some hesitancy coming to see somebody. Because where I'm from, you either go talk to a white social worker, a white therapist, and nobody was going to do that in my neighborhood. So I wanted to kind of bring that light to people and just give them an understanding that like it don't matter, what race you are or who the person you're going to talk to. Mm-hmm. If they're licensed and a professional, they're going to help you out. Yeah,
absolutely. Do you feel like that's still kind of a stigma? Like, do you feel like there's still places like that where it's kind of that stigma to go seek out help, or do you feel like it's getting better?
I think it's getting a lot better. It's funny. I do see a lot more Black people come to my office now, and once they, I guess, kind of research and find me out here, and they usually come for the first time. Mm-hmm. And I always tell them like, hey, like I may not be the person to get you where you need to go, but I hope you have a great experience, and so you don't look at therapy, as something of a negative or anything like that, because that stigma is slowly going away, and I feel like a lot of people my age are pushing their kids and family mm-hmm. into therapy more.
Okay, and that's good. I mean, that's awesome,
a positive,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super positive. And how old are you, just so everybody knows?
38.
38, okay, awesome. So what kinds of things like do you see like pretty commonly in your practice? Like as main issues?
So it was funny coming from like the hospital setting. I was in a more crisis setting, so mm-hmm. a lot of people were either off their meds or needed to get on medications, or in psychosis. So working in private practice, you get more of a down treatment. So it's more people that's coming in with jobs, families, mm-hmm. marriage problems, anxiety, depression. I say the top two diagnoses I see a lot is depression and anxiety. Some bipolar, but more anxiety and depression.
Do you feel like that diagnosis is becoming more prevalent, or do you think people are just getting like diagnosed more with it?
I think more people are getting diagnosed with it because a lot of people my age white knuckled their life.
Yeah.
So they just went through life either procrastinating or having a lot of success off of anxiety, and then they start having a family with kids, and life start catching up to them, and that's when they're like, holy crap, like I can't white knuckle life anymore. And so they'll come to me, and we'll figure out their diagnosis. If they need medications, they can go to I get them set up with a psych doctor to manage their meds, and I'll do the talk therapy. But if they're not seeking medications, we just try to find resource like coping skills and resources that they can use and tools that they can use to help.
Okay, so if you have someone who's like pretty classic anxiety and or depression, what's like one of the easiest changes that they can make in their life that will give them the biggest results?
So when I was in undergrad, it was funny. Someone told me, it was my professor. She was like, the number one antidepressant is exercise. And at the time, I was just like, oh shit, I've been doing that most of my life because I played sports, and I went to college and played ball. And so I was like, well, I love working out. So it definitely kept me pretty managed with my mental health growing, through all of that stuff I went through as a child. And so to me, getting your self-care in order, and I always tell people, it doesn't matter about going to the gym and lifting heavy weights. It's starting off by just walking, getting outside, doing more mindful activities, being present whenever you're outdoors, and whether that's paying attention to your walk, the nature, getting better with eating is a big thing, and just kind of giving yourself a healthy balance, but also tying into your relationships and your mental health and how they're affecting your mental health. So we kind of tackle the self-care first, and then we start diving into a lot of the core issues that's bothering them.
So kind of addressing internal stuff first, and then I feel like being outside is really, really helpful, mentally.
Oh yeah, it's 15 minutes is crazy how it'll change your life by just walking around your neighborhood whenever you're in the house feeling down.
So let's shift gears a little bit too. Tell us about your workout history. So you said you played ball. And...
So I played football all my life, pretty much. And
what position?
I played running back and I played safety. But when I was in grade school, I played offensive lineman.
Okay.
And I played in middle school running back, and I played basketball as well. I was always playing 3 sports up until high school.
Okay, that's a lot of sports.
Yeah, I know. And I was like, man, I'm kind of good at football. So I went to a school that was outside of my neighborhood to play football, and which was a blessing for me because staying in my neighborhood, I don't know if I would have ended up going to college, but I went to an outside school, stuck with football 4 years. I worked out a lot, and around my junior year, that's when I started getting college offers, and I was kind of like, oh, well, I can go to college with this stuff because I didn't think I was going to go to college at the time. And so that's kind of how my life shifted, and I went into college because I wasn't really big into education when I was young, not because I couldn't handle the work. It was just that my lifestyle and my home life wasn't always the greatest. So I was always just focusing on the thing that made me happy, and that was football.
Okay, awesome. Are you still a big football fan?
Oh yeah,
Who's your favorite team?
I'm a Colts fan. I've been one since I was in 8th grade.
Okay, very cool. Are they a pretty good team?
We all right. Not the past few years.
Well, maybe this season will be the.
We ain't as bad as the Bears now.
Okay, well, I'm not a Bears fan really. I'm a Chiefs fan. They're really good.
Okay.
That's where my dad's from.
Got you.
But yeah, the Bears would probably be my second team, I guess. So if you had a patient who was wanting to start exercising for their mental health, what's the first step you would tell them to take?
First I figure out...
They've never exercised before.
Okay, yeah. First I figure out what their lifestyle is. For me, I'm married, I got 3 kids. So in my schedule, I work Monday through Thursday, and usually I'm in my office from 8:15, and sometimes I'll leave till after 7. And I'll see around either 7 to 9 patients a day. So my workouts are better in the morning, and I like to have some time in the evening to just kind of come home, spend with my family before everyone start winding down. And my Fridays, I come in early so I can just have a good day with my wife, because she don't work on Fridays either. So I figure out how to incorporate working out without it being a burden in my personal life, because I feel like that's what I hear a lot of is my patients will tell me like, man, I got to take my kids to soccer practice, baseball. We're busy. I just don't have enough time. And I always explain to them, I was like, all that dead time we waste by either scrolling our phone or going to, you know, restaurants when we should have been making meals at home. Spending a lot of time maybe doing things that are not healthy for us when we could have just spent 45 minutes doing a physical activity. And my thing is just like, I don't like waking up early in the morning. Never did. But
yeah, I don't like it, but I like having woken up early.
and once I'm started, I'm good. And it makes me feel great around 2-3 o'clock when I'm exhausted and I'm sitting in my office and I'm like, man, I am tired. But it's in a great way. I feel like I accomplished something in the morning time that was healthy for myself, and it gives me a good motivator to finish out my day. Now, if I work out in the evening, it's just different for me. So my lifestyle works better with me working out in the morning. So I figure out what my patient's lifestyle looks like, and then we try to figure out how to incorporate exercise.
How to fit it in.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like super complicated either, right?
No.
Like it can just be like the walking to start with.
No, and I obviously, I'm biased about the gym I go to, so I'm always excited to kind of give them an idea of like how like Hustle One works for my lifestyle, where I can go to the gym. I have enough background and knowledge to like have a decent workout on my own, but like I'm just in my stage in life, it's just better for me to go somewhere where professionals are able to have my workout set for me, accountability to push me. I get that within that hour done, and I go on about my life, and I don't have to think about planning what I'm going to do in the gym tomorrow. So I try to encourage them, if they're a person who never worked out and don't have a plan, to either try to get with a personal trainer or try to find a gym that has more of a program set up for you. And if you don't have the finances to do that, I always tell people getting out, walking, exercising, and just trying to build up from there, and do some research. There's always room to get some exercise in, even if you can't afford to like hit up a gym.
Yeah, I think the financial thing is huge, and I think YouTube is also a great resource for if you don't have like the finances. There's like whole programs out there on YouTube that you can get taken through, and but yeah, that's a great point. I want to go back to something you said earlier about taking all that dead time, like scrolling on your phones and stuff. What do you feel like? How do you feel like social media and like phone usage has impacted our like mental health? Because I know for me personally, I feel like my attention span has gotten way shorter since like downloading TikTok back during the pandemic in 2020.
People are less patient. I find out people are impatient with life, and it's everything on the go. And if you break it down with kids, it's even worse. Their mind can't sit still for a period of time without having something entertaining them, and it's always got to be short. So I think that causes a lot of like problems if you have ADHD. It doesn't help when it comes to relationships, because a lot of times people could be talking to their spouse or their friends versus just scrolling through phones. And I think and I even go towards video games. I grew up playing video games, but I think what happened with the online video games caused a lot of kids to separate and just play online and talk to a microphone versus having that in-person interaction. So I think scrolling through TikTok, it can be a healthy use if you have if you're disciplined enough, but I think it's just having enough discipline to say, look, I don't want to spend 10 hours a day on my phone. And if you look at your phone and see the amount of time you spend on an app, you might be surprised. And I started doing that for my own self. So that's one of the things that makes me stay focused in my job, is my exercise and the way I treat myself when it comes to my family and my phone time, stuff like that. Because when I'm not working out, exercising, I feel like an imposter. So I feel like I'm in here telling these people like, hey, a part of mental health is self-care. And when I'm over here not focusing on my self-care, I don't feel like my life is balanced. So my job actually helps me stay focused on my own mental health. When it comes to my phone, when it comes to exercise and the time that I spend interacting with family and friends. So
that's awesome. I mean, it definitely has good uses too, like podcasts, and like there's a lot of like more information out there for people.
And that's and the crazy thing is I use that a lot for my patients when it comes to like real life experiences, because I have a background where I grew up in an environment that wasn't so pleasant, and I can relate to certain people, but some people I can't relate to. And I do my research and I find people who are able to like have a story that maybe one of my patients can relate to, and how they overcame certain situations. So I always try to find motivational podcasts or speeches to kind of throw out there to certain people. Because I think hearing it from a person that went through it sometimes can give you a better like outlook on how to get through your problems.
Yeah,
So,
that's
so
awesome.
TikTok, a lot of podcasters out there, I definitely utilize in my sessions.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. Okay, another question I have for you, Tyrone. So, something that I've been like learning about more recently and like listening to is the concept of like cleaning your house and like decluttering your house to like declutter your mind.
Yeah.
Because I noticed for me, like I'm kind of a messy person, like, and when my house is disorganized and messy, like it's way harder for me to focus and get stuff done.
Yeah.
But it's easier when everything is like clean and more organized.
Yes.
Do you have any like thoughts about that or?
Oh yeah. My thing is, yes, declutter your house when you have a chance. It does help with your mental health. It gives you, especially if you have ADHD, it definitely helps you organize. But here's one of the things I always tell my patients is that decluttering your house is positive and you should do it. But if you do not declutter your mind, it does not help at all. And so you have to have both at the same time.
Gotcha.
And one doesn't work without the other, because if you're a person that, you know, your house is just chaotic and you don't have things organized, and you're going to feel like things are off balance. And the same thing when it comes to your mental health. So ruminating thoughts, concentrating on things you can't control, constantly worried about things that haven't happened yet. Decluttering that brain is just as important as decluttering your house. So I feel like both of them are very equal when it comes to your mental health.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's definitely true. Like, I mean, I always notice that with my car too. Like my car, I tend to like leave a lot of stuff in my car. And then, well, do you have any advice for people who like are like worried people? They're stuck fixated on stuff all the time. They ruminate on things they can't control. Like, do you have any advice for those people? Like off the cusp?
Yeah. So I got a lot of advice for people who have ruminating thoughts. One of the advice I can give them is start learning grounding techniques. And you can.
What's a grounding technique?
So grounding technique is being more in the present. We use that with DBT, is dialectical behavioral therapy, and it helps you focus more on the now versus like things that's happening maybe later or even things in the past. So for an example is I kind of give this example to a lot of my patients so to bring them to reality. You can be in the most exciting place in the world, and if you're ruminating on things that is out of your control, you are missing an opportunity to be happy. So learning a grounding technique, like whether distracting yourself with something positive, when we're going out walking, I gave an example a little bit earlier, when you're walking and you're paying attention to nature. We live in Charleston. I came from West Virginia, definitely a state that I love and care about, but living here in Charleston where you got the water everywhere, things I didn't grow up around, I'm constantly like just looking at these things and paying attention to like the birds chirping, things like that. And that's being in the present and having a mindful ability to just be happy in the moment and not constantly thinking about what's going on in the future and things that you can't control. So decluttering your mind helps that, but also letting things go like that happened in the past. That takes a little bit of time. Sometimes it takes being in my office or someone else's where you got to walk through and process some of these things. But when you're at home and you're constantly worried about something that haven't happened yet, and you got kids, family around trying to show you things, or they're happy, you're losing out on life by just focusing on things out of your control. So it's just those little reminders, while also using grounding techniques is very useful.
That's cool. I had not really heard of grounding techniques. I had somebody tell me once to like, if you're ruminating on something, to like schedule worry time. Like,
yeah.
Worry during this hour, and you're not allowed to worry.
Yeah. So it's like, that's another technique in therapy. It's so blocking off your worry times and like scheduling it like around 7 at night. So if I'm at my job working and I'm constantly ruminating on things, I can isolate that time, for another moment, and then I can spend that time just checking in with myself and trying to figure out what it is that I'm worried about and if there's a solution to it. Now, my thing is that if you don't find a solution to these techniques, then you got to figure out how to let it go. Okay. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's really, really helpful advice. Thank you so much, Tyrone. Do you mind sharing like the name of your practice for if anybody does want to schedule an appointment or anything?
So my practice is Guided Healing, and I have an office in West Ashley and in Mount Pleasant on Bell Hall. And I always tell people, I'd love for you to come to our office and get a therapist, whether it's me or anybody else. But we have plenty of therapists online that you can research and get a hold of, do in person, do telehealth. So just get online. Psychology Today is a great resource if you're just new to trying to search. You can put your insurance in there. You can put some of the symptoms that you're experiencing and the area that you live in, and it'll be able to pop up a list of therapists that works in your network. So that's a good research source. But guided healing is we're definitely a good practice if you want to reach out and schedule an appointment with us.
Okay, awesome. Well, cool. Well, thank you so much, Tyrell. This was awesome, super helpful. Is there anything else you want to say?
Thank you so much, Rebecca.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool. Thank you so much for listening to the Rest Between Sets, and a big thanks to Tyrone for coming on the show. Next week, we have Jeremy Bennett with us, and he's going to be an awesome guest to have, and we're super excited. So tune in next week.